The Psalms, ancient poetry for inner calm. Imagine you're lying awake at 2 a.m. Not the cozy kind of awake, the sharp kind. Your mind is doing that thing it always does, replaying regrets, forecasting disasters, arguing with people who aren't in the room. And the worst part is, it feels urgent. Like if you don't solve your entire life right now, something will collapse. So you scroll, you search, you try to think your way into calm. And somehow, you feel even more alone. Now imagine someone hands you a small book of poems, written by people who also couldn't sleep. People who were scared, angry, grateful, numb, hopeful. Sometimes all in the same day. And here's what's strange about these poems. They don't pretend to be positive. They don't talk like a motivational poster. They just tell the truth. And somehow, the truth makes you breathe again. In this video, we're going to step into the Psalms, not as a religious lecture, but as an ancient practice for inner calm. Whether you're religious, spiritual, unsure, or just tired, there's something here for you. Here's the big idea. The Psalms are ancient poetry designed to hold the human nervous system. They don't teach calm by denying pain. They teach calm by giving pain a voice, then guiding that voice toward meaning, trust, and steadiness. In modern words, the Psalms function like a full emotional map. Fear, rage, shame, loneliness, gratitude, wonder, hope. Everything. And when you stop fighting your emotions and start naming them, something softens. That softening is often where calm begins. 1. What the Psalms actually are, and what they're not. The Psalms are a collection of songs and poems, ancient lyrics meant to be spoken, sung, repeated. They're not a single mood. They're not one personality. They're more like a library of the inner life. Some psalms sound like a lullaby. Some sound like a courtroom argument. Some sound like a thank you note. Some sound like a scream. And that matters, because a lot of people come to the Psalms expecting one thing: soft music, gentle thoughts, spiritual spa vibes. But the Psalms are more honest than that. Misconception number 1. The Psalms are always peaceful. No. Many Psalms are emotionally intense, sometimes even shocking. They include anger, doubt, grief, and protest. So if you've ever thought, I can't read the Psalms because I'm too messy right now, the Psalms would gently say, that's exactly when you're allowed to enter. The calm isn't in pretending those emotions don't exist. The calm is in learning how to carry them without drowning. Here's a helpful way to see it. You can think of the Psalms as emotional scripts, language for the moments when your inner world is too loud to organize. Most of us don't need more information. We need better language for what's happening inside us. 2. Why poetry can calm the mind better than advice. When you're anxious, advice often bounces off your brain like rubber. Relax. Let it go. Be grateful. Your body hears that and thinks, sure, thanks. I'll stop panicking now. Poetry works differently. Poetry doesn't command you. Poetry joins you. A psalm will say, in effect, I know what it's like to feel surrounded. I know what it's like to feel forgotten. I know what it's like to want justice. I know what it's like to need help. And your nervous system responds. Finally, someone gets it. That sense of being understood is not sentimental. It's biological. Feeling understood reduces threat. Here's a tiny experiment. Think of the last piece of advice someone gave you when you were stressed. Now, notice, did your shoulders relax? Did your breath slow? Probably not. Now imagine a line that says, "I'm exhausted and I don't know what to do." Just hearing that, most people soften a little. That's the Psalms' first gift. They give your inner chaos a dignified voice. 3. The Psalms and Christianity. A richer connection. History, worship, hymns, prayer books. Before we go further, let's answer a very normal question, especially if you've ever heard the Psalms read in a church. How do the Psalms relate to Christianity? And why do they show up so often in Christian worship? Here's the simple map, with just enough history to make it click. A. The Psalms are older than Christianity. Historically, the Psalms come from the worship life of ancient Israel. They're part of the Hebrew Bible, what Christians later call the Old Testament. That means the Psalms weren't originally Christian songs. They were the prayers and poetry of a people trying to live with God in real life. Celebration, fear, exile, injustice, gratitude, and survival. If you want a simple picture, imagine a community that didn't separate spiritual life from emotional life. When they were terrified, they prayed terrified. When they were furious, they prayed furious. When they were grateful, they prayed grateful. The Psalms are the record of that honesty. B. In Jewish worship, the Psalms were already a living soundtrack. Long before Christianity, the Psalms were sung and recited in communal worship. They weren't meant to stay on a page. They were meant to be heard, repeated, and carried, like the kind of words you lean on when your own words collapse. This is part of why they feel so different from modern self-help. They were shaped to be spoken out loud, and spoken words do something your nervous system can actually feel. C. Jesus and the early Christians lived inside the Psalms. Now here's where the Christian connection becomes very direct. The New Testament quotes the Psalms constantly. They show up in teaching, worship, and especially in moments of suffering. In other words, early Christians didn't treat the Psalms like someone else's book. They treated the Psalms like a shared language for the human heart, language that still worked. And many Christians see the Psalms as a kind of vocabulary Jesus himself used, a way of praying that includes trust, lament, and hope without pretending. D. The early church turned the Psalms into a daily rhythm. As Christianity spread, the Psalms became central to Christian worship life. In the early centuries, Christians didn't just read Psalms on special occasions. They built daily routines around them, morning and evening, week after week. This is where you get the tradition sometimes called the hours or daily offices. The basic idea is simple. Your day has a rhythm, so your inner life needs a rhythm too. So the Psalms became like spiritual breathing patterns, a steady set of words you return to when life is chaotic. And this is one of the reasons the Psalms are so powerful for inner calm. They were never meant to be a one-time inspirational quote. They were meant to be practiced, repeated, lived with. E. Hymns, singing, and the Psalter tradition. Now let's talk about music, because this matters. Christians have sung the Psalms for centuries. In many traditions, there are psalters, collections designed specifically for singing. Sometimes the Psalms were put into poetic meter so congregations could sing them easily. Even if you don't know the history, you've probably felt the effect. A psalm sung slowly can steady the body in a way that plain reading sometimes doesn't. And here's the key emotional detail. When you sing a psalm, your breath becomes part of the prayer. That's not just spiritual, it's physical. Singing naturally slows and regulates breathing. So the tradition of psalm singing is, in a very real sense, an ancient method of nervous system regulation. F. Prayer books and structured calm. In many Christian communities, the Psalms also became part of structured prayer books, systems that guide you day by day, especially when you don't know what to say. That's why you might hear Psalms read aloud in weekly services or in seasonal rhythms, because the tradition assumes something true about humans. When you're tired, grieving, or overwhelmed, your personal creativity isn't always available. But a good structure can still carry you. So Christians didn't just believe the Psalms, they used them, like a steady rope you hold in a storm. G. A gentle clarification. You don't have to be Christian to benefit. Now, if you are Christian, the Psalms can become deeply personal. A prayer vocabulary you inherit, a songbook your faith has carried for centuries. But if you're not Christian, or not religious at all, this is still true. The Psalms are ancient human speech under pressure. They're honest words that move from raw emotion towards steadiness. So you can approach them in more than one way: as scripture and prayer, as poetry and emotional processing, as a historical record of resilience, as a calm practice shaped by repetition. Either way, the Psalms offer a structure that still works. Honesty, a wider horizon, direct asking, returning to trust. And now that we've placed the Psalms in their Christian context, let's bring it back to the practice itself, because this is where the calm becomes real. 4. The Psalms as a 4-step path to inner calm. Here's a practical structure you can notice in many Psalms. It's not in every one, but it's common enough to be useful. Step 1. Name what's real. Not what should be real, not what would look good on social media. What's real? I'm afraid. I'm exhausted. I feel betrayed. I feel alone. I feel numb. The Psalms teach a radical skill: honesty without collapse. Step 2. Remember you are not the center. This part can sting, but it can also free you. When anxiety hits, the mind becomes a tiny room with one subject: me. The Psalms widen the room. They pull you into a larger reality: God, time, creation, the moral order, the long arc of life. Even if you don't use religious language, the move is the same. From my panic to a bigger horizon. This isn't your problems don't matter. It's your problems are not the whole sky. Step 3. Ask for what you need, directly. Prayer is not always polite and indirect. Not in the Psalms. The Psalms ask boldly, sometimes urgently. Help, Teach me, hold me, protect me, give me strength. There's something calming about directness. It stops the mind from spinning. Step 4. Return to trust without forcing it. The psalm doesn't jump from pain to positivity, it moves through a tunnel. Sometimes trust comes in one line. Sometimes it comes as a tiny shift. I can't see the whole path, but I'm not alone. Calm in the Psalms is not a mood, it's a stance. 5. The emotional genres of the Psalms, so you can find what you need. Think of the Psalms like playlists, different songs for different inner weather. A. Lament Psalms, for grief, stress, fear. These are the I can't do this Psalms. They validate pain without romanticizing it. A lament isn't a complaint for attention. It's a refusal to pretend. Sometimes the first step to calm is permission. I don't have to act okay to be held. B. Trust Psalms, for anxiety and uncertainty. These Psalms don't deny danger. They keep danger from becoming your whole world. Trust isn't certainty. Trust is staying human in uncertainty. C. Gratitude Psalms, for healing and perspective. Gratitude here isn't fake cheer. It's an act of attention. It says, even now, something good is still real. D. Wisdom Psalms, for clarity and direction. These psalms feel like gentle coaching. They talk about choices, character, patience, integrity. They don't promise a painless life. They point to a stable one. E. Praise Psalms, for awe and recentering. Praise isn't about ignoring your problems. It's about remembering the world is bigger than your problems. Sometimes inner calm comes from wonder. 6. But I'm not religious. How the Psalms still work. If you're not religious, the Psalms can still work. Because before they are theology, they are human speech under pressure. You can treat them as poetry for emotional processing, a historical record of human resilience, a mindfulness practice with a moral center, a way to speak your inner life without collapsing into it. You don't have to fake beliefs you don't have, but you can still borrow the practice. Honesty, horizon, asking, returning. 7. A simple way to use the Psalms. 3 minutes a day. Choose one psalm like a daily anchor. Read it slowly, out loud if you can. Your voice slows your body. Circle one line that feels alive. Then paraphrase it in your own words. I feel overwhelmed, but I'm asking for strength. I'm scared, but I'm still here. I don't know the outcome, but I'm not alone. Then sit with one breath after it. That's enough to begin. If you want a simple 3-minute routine, Minute 1, read out loud slowly. Minute 2, paraphrase one line. Minute 3, one breath, plus one direct ask for the next step. Consistency beats intensity. 8. What the Psalms teach about calm, that modern culture often misses. Modern culture sells calm like a product. Buy this, optimize that. Avoid negativity. Curate your life. Never feel uncomfortable. The Psalms teach a different calm. Calm is not control. Calm is not perfection. Calm is not constant happiness. Calm is the ability to be present without being consumed. And no, spiritual calm doesn't mean you never feel anger. Anger is not automatically evil. Sometimes, anger is the alarm system of justice. The question is not, do you feel anger? The question is, what do you do with it? The Psalms give anger a place to speak, so it doesn't become poison. 9. A 60-second short, guided psalm practice for right now. Let's do one short practice right here in plain language. First, name your honest inner weather. Just one word. Anxious, tired, lonely, resentful, numb, hopeful. Second, say, this is what's real right now. Third, widen the horizon. There is more to reality than this moment. Fourth, ask simply, give me strength for the next step. Not the whole staircase, just the next step. Fifth, end with one line of trust. I will take this one breath and return. That is a psalm-shaped calm. As you breathe out, unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders 1 inch. Calm isn't only a thought, it's a physical permission. 10. The deeper gift. The Psalms teach you to speak without performing. One reason modern people feel exhausted is this: we're always performing. Even our healing becomes performance. Even our spirituality becomes a brand. The Psalms are refreshingly unbranded. They are raw, sometimes messy, sometimes contradictory. And that's the point. They teach you that you can be a full human and still be held. That kind of permission is calming. Closing. Ancient poetry, modern breath. The Psalms have survived wars, exile, grief, empires, and centuries of ordinary suffering. Not because they are trendy, but because they are honest. If you want inner calm, you don't need perfect thoughts. You need truthful words. Words that name what's real and guide you back to a larger horizon. So tonight, if your mind is loud, borrow an ancient poem. Read it slowly. Let it meet you where you are. And then, just for a moment, let yourself breathe. Because sometimes inner calm doesn't arrive as a big breakthrough. Sometimes it arrives as something smaller and more realistic. A softer jaw, a slower breath, a truer sentence. And that's enough. That's how you begin.